श्रीवत्सवंशकलशोदधिकौस्तुभस्य श्रीवासराघवगुरोस्तनयं ततश्च विद्या अवाप्य विबुधोत्तमतां दधानं कुर्वे सदा हृदि गुरुं करुणाकराख्यं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये मातापिता योतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्मया नामाद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यं श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि नमस्ते. We discussed Prithvi in the previous class. Now we will discuss a few clarifications. When we talk about clarifications, we imply what some other schools say and how we are a little different. Okay. Some schools declare that Vayu is not Pratyaksha. We discussed about the Purva Paksha in the case of Akasha. In the case of Vayu, some schools say Vayu cannot be known through Pratyaksha Pramana. Because if something is Pratyaksha, you should know how much of it is there. You should be able to measure it in size and so on, those kinds of properties. But what is the size of the wind? Can you measure it? You cannot. So how can you call it Pratyaksha? We say it is partly true. Of course, we accept that we cannot see the wind, but it can be felt. We feel, and we can feel the extent of Vayu's impact on other entities as well. So, if an entity can be proven through Pratyaksha, it does not imply that its fundamental properties should be directly inferable through Pratyaksha. What is Pratyaksha? You are able to directly perceive with your physical senses about something. Then you call it as Pratyaksha Jnana. So, if you are able to directly feel the presence of something using your physical organs, that means it is Pratyaksha. So in this way, Vayu is Pratyaksha because I can feel the existence of Vayu using my sense organs. And furthermore, even Atma should be counted as Pratyaksha. Why? Because the existence of Atma is felt by us. We feel life. We might not understand, but we feel life. If anything and everything that we feel is an implication of life. Even people who are in coma, they do feel, their mind does not process, but they do feel something. Their heart still beats, right? Their heart still feels blood and pushes it. All of that happens. So, Atma is also Pratyaksha. Now, what about Prana? We said all the Vayus are not Prana. Prana is a Vayu Vishesha. Correct? Prana is a specific type of Vayu. Now, some people said, can we consider Prana as an Indriya? Why should we consider Prana as just a Vayu? What is the difference between an Indriya and being a Vayu Vishesha? A Vayu Vishesha implies a specific type of Vayu. Vayu is not an Indriya, right? It is a Bhuta. But Prana is something that I have within, right? I have within me. When Prana leaves, you say my life is gone. all my other indriyas fail. The Veda also boldly declares this. So that indriya which controls all the other indriyas, can't we take it that way? Hmm? As a matter of fact, sometimes indriyas are also called pranas because they only sustain the life. Hmm? What is an indriya? The Purva Pakshi says, what is an indriya? Whatever helps the Jivatma is an indriya. Whatever helps, a karana that helps the Jivatma to perform something is called an indriya. Therefore, you have karma indriya, which helps you do karma, and jnana indriya, which helps you to get jnana, to get perception, right? So, prana is only helping you to do all of them. If there is no prana, your other indriyas will not be able to help you. So, prana is essentially helping everything. And therefore, prana should be considered an indriya. In this way, some people said. I have not mentioned it in the points, in the bullets, but I remembered, so I thought we will discuss that as well. But in Vishishtadvaitha, we say, no, prana will not be considered as an indriya. Okay. Just because indriyas are also called as prana in certain contexts, we cannot completely equate the two. This is very important for us. What do we say? Sometimes there are words, the same word could be used to denote two different entities. Does it mean both are one and the same? No. Let us see an example. In Vishnu Sahasranama, there is a name for Vishnu called Shiva. Sarva Sharva Shivasthanu. Sarvaha, Sharvaha, Shivaha, Sthanu. That is how it comes, right? Sarva Sharva Shiva Sthanur Bhuta then Nidhiravyayaha. Look, one of the names of Vishnu is Shiva. Therefore, Vishnu is Shiva in every way. Shiva is only Vishnu. Vishnu is only Shiva. Can we declare it that way? It will be problematic. Why? Because there are many other scriptures also. The scriptures outside of Vishnu Sahasranama, they declare that Shiva has a dharma patni called Parvati. Then there are more scriptures. They say that Vishnu accepted Parvati as his sister. Vishnu has a wife, correct? Vishnu is there with Lakshmi. He is there with Shri, Bhu, Nila. Lord Shiva is there with Parvati Devi. So Parvati Pati is Lord Shiva. There if you equate Vishnu, it will destroy everything. So just because one of the names given for Vishnu is Shiva, we should not say that Vishnu and Shiva are one and the same. Then who is there on Adishesha? Is Adishesha the same as Nandi? Are you going to say that Sudarshana Chakra is the same as Trishula? How are you going to equate them? Where you want to talk about equation, you talk. That is okay. There are parts of scriptures where Shiva is described as Lord Shiva, that Parvati Pati, but where Vaishnavas still equate Vaishnavas as in Sri Vaishnavas, Vishishtadvaitin. The Advaiti will anyway equate Vishnu with Shiva. But where the Advaiti equates and where the Advaiti does not equate should also be seen. The Advaiti will see the difference in Vyavahara. In Paramartha, the Advaiti will say Shiva and Vishnu are one and the same. In Vyavahara, they are different. In Paramartha, they are one and the same. So if you buy Vishnu Sahasranama Bhashya from Shankara Matha, you will see at the start of Vishnu Sahasranama, they would have declared that Vishnu and Shiva are one and the same. What are they trying to say there? They are trying to give the equation in Paramartha, not in Vyavahara. If you don't understand Paramartha and Vyavahara, you don't understand Advaita. Very simple. Because whatever is explainable through pratyaksha and anumana will all be vyavahara only. So Advaita has to discuss vyavaharika dasha. Coming to the Vishishtadvaitin, we do accept in certain places. But how do we accept? Using Shesha Sheshi Bhava, Sharira Shariri Bhava, and so on. In most of the places, it would be Sharira Shariri Bhava. And we have discussed it infinite times. So, even statements like Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvam Asi, and so on, we have said that we interpret these Abheda Vakyas by using Sharira Shariri Bhava. So, in that sense, we are able to use it for Vishnu and Shiva as well. We don't have a problem. But should we, just because one name of Vishnu is Shiva, say that Vishnu and Shiva are one and the same? Lord Shiva also has another name, Trinetra. Not Trinetra, but Trinetra. Brahma Swayambhush Chaturananova, Rudras Trinetras Tripurantakova. That is the ancient Patha, as my Venerable Acharya had taught us. The shloka from Ramayana. So in Srimad Ramayana, when the shloka comes, Shiva is called Trinetra. What does that na do? It acts as a special change from na to na, indicating that the word Trinetra becomes a Niravakasha Linga. Niravakasha Linga, Linga here should not be confused with Shiva Linga. Niravakasha Linga means the word Trinetra implies a very specific person who has three eyes. Trinetra could be used to call anybody who has three eyes. But Trinetra could be referred to call only one person among how many ever Trinetras might exist. That one person is Lord Shiva, Parvati Pati. So, there, can we use the word Trinetra to refer to Narayana, who is Lakshmi Pati? We cannot. So, there are places where we can equate, there are places where we cannot equate. Just because a word is used commonly for two people, it does not mean that you can immediately equate both of them. And this is a very important point. Plenty of Westerners have failed in this regard. Our modern people go one step ahead also. Modern people take the translations made by Westerners, which have already equated unequal things, unequal words. And then on top of that, because of the use of English, there would be further problems. Like, for example, there is a difference between Brahma and Brahma. But what would we write in English? Brahma, that's it. What would happen? People would say, oh, Brahma is mentioned here. Brahma and Brahma, people wouldn't understand the difference between a neuter word and a masculine word. If you write it in English as Brahma, that would become a very big problem. So, we should have devotion towards the scriptures, and this devotion should lead us to very carefully and meticulously try to understand the meanings. Okay. There are places where Bhagavan is praised as a thief. There are places where being a thief is condemned greatly. Bhagavan is called the Lord of Thieves. That kind of statement can also be found. But we should understand, does it mean, okay, it means Bhagavan is a thief. That means we can also be thieves. Being thieves is a good thing. Can we do such a thing? We cannot do. So we should understand what is applicable where. In the same way, we should understand that just because the word prana has been used to refer to indriyas, we cannot equate them just like that. There is, of course, a purpose behind it, but the purpose should be understood. And you cannot simply say, oh, indriya is also called prana. Therefore, wherever the word prana comes, I will say prana is also indriya. It doesn't work that way. See, the word Indra could be used to refer to plenty of people. In specific, one Indra, who is the Devaraja. Now the word Hari could refer to Indra. Hari could mean Ashwa. It could refer to a horse. Maybe it refers to a monkey. The word Hari is used that way also. It could also refer to Bhagavan Sri Hari. Are we then going to say that every horse is Bhagavan Sri Hari? Or that Sri Hari Vishnu himself is a horse? Yes, he is a horse. I agree. That way also some people will start imagining. But that is illogical. That Hayagriva Rupa is one Rupa of Bhagavan. Secondly, that Hayagriva is also not predominantly shown by the scriptures to be 100% horse. Although we do have stories that we completely believe in, wherein Bhagavan came in the form of a white horse, completely horse form. We have that and we accept. But that does not mean that it is his Mukhya Rupa or that he is always only in that form. He is always in plenty of forms. He is always in every single form that you can ever imagine and every form that you cannot imagine also. He is Sarva Shariri. But let us ignore that. So, this becomes a problem. Okay, but what about the fact that it is also an upakarana? It is helping us, right? It is helping our body. Therefore, just like the eyes help our body, not the physical eyes, I am talking to Chakshu, Indriya, the subtle component of the eye. The subtle eye helps us in sight. Likewise, the prana helps us in life. Why not say that both are Indriyas? We say, no, it will not work that way. It cannot work that way. Just because it helps us, the prana vayu cannot be called an Indriya. Why? The Sharira in its entirety helps the body, helps the Atma. The Sharira from head to toe helps the Jiva. Can we then say that the entire Sharira, the entire physical body, is also an Indriya? We cannot. The scriptures do not say so. Specific parts that exist inside the body are being called as Indriyas. But the entire body is also helping me, no? Why not call the entire body as Indriya? We are not calling that way. So, in the same way, there is no place where prana is declared as an Indriya. Whatever has been created by the transformation of Satvika Ahankara is declared to be an Indriya. We saw this in proper detail a number of classes ago. We said there is Mula Prakriti, then there is Mahat, then there is Ahankara. That Ahankara splits into Satvika, Rajasa and Tamasa. From Satvika Ahankara, you get the Indriyas. This is how the Indriya should be understood. Prana is not coming from Satvika Ahankara. Therefore, we cannot accept it to be an Indriya. This has to be understood by us. Quite important for us. Now, let us move on to light. In Vaisheshika, not referring to the atomic theory part of it. I'm referring to Vaisheshika Darshana as a whole. Okay, a lot of people think Vaisheshika is restricted to Dalton's atomic theory. We have already discussed in our classes how it is not the same as Dalton's atomic theory, how Dalton's atomic theory was actually better than Kanada's theory. But what we need to see here is what else is taught by the Vaisheshika school. Vaisheshika accepted logic as a pramana. That does not mean that it is 100% logical, because plenty of things has been stated by the Vaisheshikas. So, what does Vaisheshika say? It gives an example. Take the example of a lamp. When the lamp is lit, there is fire. When there is this fire in the lamp, small parts of that fire, they start spreading out. Tiny fragments of that fire are only spreading out and coming as light. Prabha is basically a fragment of this fire. This is what Vaisheshikas say. We say, no, this is incorrect. See, when we look at light, firstly, they are talking about different parts of fire splitting and becoming light. But we do have beams of light, and we see light to be well spread out to the extent where we cannot differentiate between the individual rays of light. Now today, with advancements in quantum physics and so on, people are able to talk about how photons are going and how the individual light particles are moving. But for people of those days to have used pratyaksha and anumana in that way was impossible. So when the ordinary person sees, there will be no microscope, there will be no, even today, the normal person cannot see photons, right? So how do you declare their existence? How do you prove their existence? Their existence was proven by physicists. But Vaisheshika Mata did not talk about photon, nor did it say that a photon is what it is described as photon by science. So it gave neither the definition nor the explanation of why it came up with that theory. Instead, Vaisheshika said, this fire, fragments of this fire are what create light. Now, why are we discussing Vaisheshika? Is it really important for us to go and criticize some other school of thought? No, no. We are criticizing those schools of thought which have been criticized by Bhagavan Vedavyasa himself. And by criticizing, we purified those schools. We purified them. It is not like we hate them for what they are. We accept the logical reasoning that they say, but we say use this logical reasoning and get better conclusions. And that is all. So unfortunately, see, you might remember we studied Nyaya Vaisheshika both. Vaisheshika did not accept a specific scripture as pramana. They said we will accept only pratyaksha and anumana. Not pratyaksha, anumana, upamana shabda like the other one. Vaisheshika accepted only pratyaksha and anumana. Now with just pratyaksha and anumana, they said we have found this. But over a period of time, they said we found this, therefore this is only true. We found that, therefore that is only true. So then there is no longer logical reasoning, there is blind faith going on, which is actually against Vaisheshika itself. That is what was being questioned by the Purvacharyas like Swami Deshika. And of course, by Vedavyasa himself. Vedavyasa questioned, it is because he started questioning that all the later Acharyas also questioned. Shankara Bhagavad Pada has questioned. Bhagavad Ramanuja has questioned. And in his line, Swami Deshika has also questioned. Plenty of acharyas have questioned. So we say that for us to be able to directly infer that there are so many different lights that are splitting from the fire, the fragments of the fire becoming light, we don't see that happening. Scientifically, this is an assumption that fire is an entity and that its own fragments split up and become light. That is not what science accepts. Now, water does not give light, but the lamp is able to give light. After you take the wick, you add some fuel, you add some ghee or whatever, and then you light it, you will be able to see fire there, right? So water is not able to produce fire. The lamp is able to give fire. The lamp is able to give light. So that giving of light becomes a property of the lamp. If giving of light is the property of the lamp, will you say that the lamp's parts are only splitting? The fire is a part of the lamp. So the lamp's parts are only fragmenting and becoming light. You cannot say it in that way. Just like how you cannot say that the fragments of lamp are coming out, in the same way, you cannot say that the fragments of fire are only coming out. This is very important because science accepts that not all light comes from fire. The sun gives us light, but the sun is not a big ball of fire. When we are tiny children, they teach us the sun is a big ball of fire. But as we grow up, they start telling us, no, no, that is not so. By the time we reach something like, I don't know, maybe fourth or fifth standard, they would say it has hot burning gases. But then if you advance even more in school, they will say it is not really burning. What is happening is that hydrogen is becoming helium. There is nuclear fusion going on. That nuclear fusion releases a lot of energy, a portion of which comes out as light. So heat and light coming from the sun are due to nuclear fusion. This is taught by science. So it is not fire, it is not some fuel, it is not some oil or ghee burning there in the sun. Light is able to come, right? That is why when we talked about Agni, we said Agni is not necessarily the physical fire. There is Agni inside our body also, which helps us in digestion, for example. Is it real fire burning? No. That's what. So, if we are to say that the lamp's parts are only becoming light, lots of different types of imaginations will end up coming out, right? Are we going to assume that all those parts only first became the lamp? Are you going to say that all the rays that you have, you travel backwards in time and see the rays of light, you travel backwards, all these different rays of light, they only became the fire, is it? Is the fire just a ray of light then? No, it doesn't seem so. Is fire breaking itself and then shattering all of its parts in all sorts of directions? No. What is really happening? All of these are maybe imaginable, but we do not see proof of them. So let us talk about a different example. Let us take the example of a gemstone. Now, a gemstone is also able to give light, right? Maybe some reflective light, let us say. But it gives, it shines, it reflects light. It is giving light. There are some which give light by themselves as well. Now, when it gives light, whether by itself or by taking and giving light from another place, are you going to say that this Ratna is itself splitting and spreading out into light fragments? You are not going to say that. That means if it keeps on spreading that way, let us say there is a Ratna that is able to give light by itself. Then are you going to say that it is continuously giving light? Therefore, there would come a point of time when the Ratna itself would disappear. Those kinds of cases we see very, very rarely. That too not in Ratnas, but scientifically speaking, we see them in radioactive materials. Radioactive materials also, we say they have half-lives. So science goes in a different direction there. But anyway, it is not the Ratna that is giving. So by using a simple example, we are able to prove that fragments of a piece are not what are creating light. We cannot accept this. Why are we discussing so much? How is it helping us? How is it helping us in bhakti to discuss these things? What did we say? We said Vishishtadvaitha is about bhakti, sharanagati, Bhagavan, Bhagavatas. What are we doing? Discussing some kind of physics of light. What is the relevance? Well, of course, Bhagavan is everywhere. The relevance here is that we have the Vedic scriptures as pramana. Bhagavan himself has revealed the Vedic knowledge to us, not once or twice, but numerous times. When the Vedanta Sutras were given by Vedavyasa, that was once. When he revealed Bhagavad Gita as Krishna, that was once. Several parts. You see, Ramayana, Veda Prachetasa Sakshad Ramayana Atmana. Ramayana itself teaches the Veda. Mahabharata is declared as Panchamo Veda. In this way, plenty of places we see where Vedic knowledge was given by Bhagavan. We stick to that and believe that because Bhagavan has given us that knowledge. Let us not try to be super smart and think we are logically capable of rejecting even Bhagavan's statement. Let us not do that. That is one teaching. Okay, but where is the bhakti? How do you get bhakti in Bhagavan? Well, when you understand the greatness of even the logical perfection of the Vedic scriptures, you would praise Bhagavan who gave us that knowledge. Okay, is that all? I can praise Bhagavan in infinite ways, no? I can just go to a temple, worship Bhagavan, praise him for his auspicious qualities. Oh, how nice you look. Oh, how nice your hair is. Oh, what a great person you are. Oh, how you protect all your bhaktas. That is the way to praise Bhagavan, no? Why this inferior way? We are not presenting it as a marga towards moksha. Vishishtadvaita does not present debating and getting knowledge as a means for moksha. It says some amount of knowledge is necessary, the Artha Panchakam, as we discussed it. Beyond that, for clarifications, yes. For enjoying, yes. For doing it as our duty as ordained by the scriptures that were revealed by Bhagavan, yes. All of that is necessary. So, what are we doing here? We are not only establishing the superiority of the Vedic scriptures, but also clarifying to people who might have doubts. No, that looks very scientific, no? Because all across social media, I see that there is this atomic theory that Kanada had come up with. Maharshi Kanada had come up with these things so long back. So we should be accepting his model of the atom. Laws of motion, Newton's laws of motion are also all described there. This, that, so many things we see on social media. It's unfortunately correct only to some extent. So when people get misled, people will think, oh, he was greatly scientific. These days, people are fascinated by science. You call something scientific, they will immediately run behind it. That is how Sanatanis work. You call something AI, people will immediately run behind it. That is how corporates function. You tell corporates this is built with AI, they will run behind it. You tell Sanatanis this is built using science, they will run behind us. Science is great. We accept it. It is a result of Anumana Pramana. But that result has to be the correct result of logic and not incorrect result. Right? So when there are schools that deny the superiority of what superiority? The supremacy of the Vedas, the supremacy of Bhagavan. Accepting Bhagavan as Nimitta Karana and Upadana Karana for Jagat Srishti is something that Vaisheshika did not do. So, in the name of getting scientific, might run behind that. And then more and more are telling that means eternal. What is Sanatana in that? What is Dharma in that? Without knowing what is Sanatana and what is Dharma, they will call that also as Sanatana Dharma. And then, after going there, when they find out it suits their needs, because their needs are just trying to be scientific. Oh, yes, I'm scientific, therefore I am great. Sanatana Dharma is great by itself. It does not require validation from scientists or anybody else. But our people, unfortunately, many of our people, not everybody, but unfortunately, many people, they think, oh, we need validation from scientists, we need validation from historians, we need validation from the how much ever modern the people might be. We need validation from anybody and everybody. We need validation from the LGBT community. We need validation from the feminists. We need validation from the vegans. You keep seeking validation outside, you will forget whatever is there inside. That is a big problem. We should come out of it. How do we come out? We come out by first accepting the greatness of our scriptures. Let us say we have accepted, but others, what about them? If they are getting swayed, then it becomes necessary for us to point out the problems that are there. Bhagavad Ramanuja did not intend to insult Yadava Prakasha. Yadava Prakasha was literally his guru. The previous day, Bhagavad Ramanuja had not attended the lecture. Therefore, out of compassion towards Bhagavad Ramanuja, Yadava Prakasha asked another student to explain what was taught on the previous day from Chandogya Upanishad. But when it was recited, Bhagavad Ramanuja saw that there is a great insult to Bhagavan. He started crying. Hot tears fell from his eyes. That story is very popular. We are not going to get into that story right now. We'll digress way too much if we get in there. So he was then asked, why are you crying? He said, no, this is very problematic. Then he was asked to explain, and therefore, with humility, he countered the view of Yadava Prakasha. This is how we have to do it. So it was not the intention of the acharyas to go and simply say, oh, others are all wrong, we are only great, we are only correct. No, no. There is a very dharmic reason behind it. And that dharmic reason is what we see behind the refutation of Vaisheshika in this regard. Why should we get into any of these? Just do some achintya bhakti. Don't think about all of these things. Some acharyas said, do achintya bhakti. Don't do any chintana. Just, if you want to do any chintana, keep it about Bhagavan. That is the best thing that you could ever do, right? Just do it, they said. Very great. Some great saints followed it. It gave very great result. That is the very best thing that we can do, right? But unfortunately, it is not something that everybody is capable of doing. We are bound by prarabdha karma. We are bound by rajoguna and tamoguna. We are bound by samsara sagara. Due to these reasons, we are unable to be in that mode. So what has happened? Even those who said, don't think too much about all of this logic. You see what has happened several centuries later? People who have come from them, they are also indulging only in logical discussion, one logic after another. So it is for the greater good of the others that these are discussed. And as far as our class is concerned, because it is literally titled Vishishtadvaitha, we are clarifying how it is different from other schools. So that is very important. So light is a type of tejas. This has been the view of Bhagavad Ramanuja. He presented this view in his Shri Bhashya. Now, the Shri Bhashya, some people said, it seems to say the opposite as well. It seems to say something else elsewhere. So, because in the same Shri Bhashya, it is said, if by chance you stop the rays of the sun with your hand, the sun's rays are coming towards your eye, you keep your hand and stop the rays of the sun with your palm. And then afterwards, you move the hand away. What happens? When you block the rays of the sun, when you block the sun from your view, the brightness decreases a bit. But once you move your hand away, the brightness increases again, right? So the rays of light coming towards you are increasing. The statement has been mentioned in the Shri Bhashya. Therefore, Shri Bhashya also accepts that only parts of Tejas are coming out as light. In this way, again, some Purva Pakshi people said, some people said even more. Look, the Bhashya says both things. Therefore, it is self-contradictory. What are you going to do about it? And then some more people came and said, see, just like how a waterfall has lots and lots of drops of water, right? Parts of water, parts of the river suddenly come as a waterfall. So, in the same way, just like how it is a jala pravaha, in the same way, accept this as a pravaha of tejas. Maybe if you accept it that way, everything would get resolved. Say that light that you see, prabha, is just fragment of tejas. So you say it that way. But we have to understand many things. We have to understand that the Sri Bhashya is not self-contradictory. Of course, why will I present it as self-contradictory when it is not self-contradictory? But more importantly, the same meaning or the same entity, the same concept can be conveyed in some different ways. At the same time, we cannot attribute absolutely opposite attributes or concepts at the same time. It is important. See, here and there, parts of Tejas can spread. That is there. We see that when water becomes hot, water by nature is colorless. But the scriptures, sometimes at certain places, you would see the scriptures declaring the water to have a color. They will say water is white. What white color do you see in the water? You don't see anything. But you heat water and see what happens. You will see that white color. Light does come out in that sense. But you see how things are working. It is through association with Agni. It is through association that you see these things. So fire, whatever heat comes out of fire, that Agni goes and merges with water and then creates hot water. Correct? So we do not deny that something comes out of it. We do not deny that, yes, if rays of light are coming from fire, the source of those rays of light is indeed the fire. We are not denying that part. We have a problem with the imagination of physical fragmentation in all cases for light. For example, in the case of Ratnas. This is important for us to understand. In the case of the sun, the parts of the sun do not split up. The light of the sun itself should be understood as a separate kind of tejas. That has to be understood. So when light falls from the sun and then it scatters, let us say you keep a prism, white light scatters into 7 different lights. See, it was one part and it scattered into many. What is the big deal? No, that happens. Yes, we do agree. We agree. We do not disagree there. This part is what is accepted by us. So in Sri Bhashya, Bhagavad Ramanuja, of course, he does not discuss about prison, but the point that while the sun moreover, when there is fire from a lamp, we have discussed this part before. When we discussed Kshanikatvam, we discussed this. Fire that is there in a lamp is not really constant. A fire anywhere that you see, even when you burn firewood, it is not really constant. To our eyes, it will look like one single entity. Even when the candle is still, you will see a still fire when there is no wind. But that fire is not a single fire. In reality, what is happening? Some amount of fuel is burning. In case of candle, it will be wax. In case of the lamp, it will be oil or ghee or whatever. That fuel burns. As the fuel burns, the fire comes, the flame comes. Then it disappears. But before it disappears completely in a way that can be grasped by our eyes, more fuel is getting burned. That fuel becomes a flame. That fuel, by burning, it releases a flame. That flame is seen by us. So, a rapid succession of different flames is seen by us as a single flame. A rapid succession of lots and lots of different flames is seen by us as a single flame. So, if you say that fire, the components of a fire are only splitting and then giving light, it will not even make sense. Your fire itself existed only for a bare instant of time. Then how can it ever be logically accepted? That has to be understood by us. So as soon as the fuel runs out, the flame will also run out, the flame will disappear. So we should understand that when the karana, the source, which is the actual fuel, when it disappears, the karya, which is the ultimate light that is reaching our eye from that lamp, instantly disappears. When some amount of that fuel disappears, that instantaneous flame also disappears. And then the next flame comes up by burning more of the fuel. This is how we should understand. So the karana itself is different. The flame that I see in this second is going to be different from the flame that I see in the next second, because the fuel which is burning in this second is going to be different from the fuel that is burning some seconds later. We have to understand that much. Look at the extent to which our Purvacharyas thought about a single flame. I have also seen flames. I have seen lamps since childhood itself. I have seen small uh, uh, clay lamps. I have seen metal lamps. I have seen candles. I have seen tube lights. I have seen that fluorescent light also. But these things never ever came to my mind. But our Purvacharyas, they thought about these things. Not just the Purvacharyas, not just the Acharyas, all the great Maharshis have thought about these things. When we say that we do not need the validation of science, we do not imply that we are unscientific or that we are against science. We imply that we are already so advanced. If you agree that you are advanced, then you will not go and seek the validation of another person. They should come and seek their validation from us because we are advanced. That is the implication. So, in an extremely scientific manner, these things have been discussed. Extremely logical and extremely scientific manner. And this is not just in Vishishtadvaitha. You will see in other schools of thought as well. You go to Dvaita and see, there also you will see. They produce one logical argument after another. They will take it into a very complex chain of arguments. Sometimes I have wondered whether the class that is being conducted by my Venerable Acharya, whether he is just conducting a class on logic or whether he is conducting on scripture. But when the scripture is so full of logic, what else do you do? So these classes should be taken to appreciate the greatness of scriptures, the greatness of Vishishtadvaita as a philosophy, the compassion of the Acharyas with which they gave us such great scientific points. There are cultures in the world which still do not accept that the sun gives light to the earth and that the earth revolves around the sun. There are cultures which have several problems at several places. But we do not have such problems. There are certain people who declared that the moon that you see in the sky is different. Because whatever is said by the scriptures allied to the Vedas is giving a different kind of a description. The moon that Neil Armstrong landed on has to be different, therefore. We in Vishishtadvaita did not have to. We are fortunate. We are blessed by the great Acharyas. And as long as we repeat their teachings, we will be correct. In the case of shiny metals, what do you think happens? Let us see in the next class. Next class, we will cover these quickly. After shiny metals, we will go to darkness. This darkness is a very, very popular topic. Is tamas a dravya? It's a very, very popular question. If you ask MA students who have studied Sanskrit, they will tell you. No matter which branch they take, whether they take Nyaya, whether they take Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, one they take, they will always be asked about this question. Is tamas, as per your school, do you accept tamas as an entity? How do you understand darkness? How do you understand uh, this? Do you think it is just a color or do you think it is something else? Is black really a color? Again, one more question. So these kinds of things are there. We will see it in the next class. If you have any question based on today's class, please let me know.
Swami, I didn't understood about stages you talked about Ramanuja saying the fire are stages. Can you please explain it again?
See, Prabha, that is the light, okay, it is indeed a kind of tejas, right? And it comes from fire, we agree. The fire gives light, we agree. That is not a problem for us. But the fire splitting into fragments that then shatter out in all the directions, they get scattered in all the directions, that we do not agree. That is the difference. Do you understand? We accept it as a source, but we do not say, okay, so if there is a fire, then you divide it into some big number of parts, some 10 power 64, 10 power 164, something number of parts, and then it scatters in all directions, and then the fire disappears. Is that how we see it happening? No. We see that the fire disappears when the fuel disappears, right? The fire does not disappear by distributing its brightness away everywhere. It disappears by running out of fuel.
Yes,
Do you understand?
yes, yes, yes.
So when Vaisheshika says it, parts of the fire only split and get scattered everywhere and to become light, we say no. We say yes, light comes from there. Yes, the intensity of light changes and so on. We accept that. But we do not accept their explanation of fragments of fire only splitting and scattering everywhere to form light. That is not what we accept. Because we do not accept the flame to be a single entity, something like a solid that can be cut into parts and then be thrown out in all directions. We don't accept that.
Yes, Swami, I understood. There is one other doubt.
Mhm.
When you talked about Vishnu Sahasranama, that Shiva and the Shiva name comes inside the Vishnu Sahasranama,
Yes,
there you talked about Paramarthika Dasha and Vyavaharika Dasha.
and Vyavaharika, yes.
Can you please give an example? Like, I didn't understood how we could, how we can explain, like, in Vyavaharika and Paramarthika Dasha
See,
about this
Vyavaharika is
involved.
whatever you see in this material world, whatever you are experiencing right now is Vyavaharika. Okay, that is Vyavahara. Whatever is declared by the Advaita scripture, like for example, Viveka Chudamani that they celebrate. Now, Viveka Chudamani will act as a summary of Advaita. Okay, it will teach you that there is only one Brahman, that Brahman is attributeless. Everything else is mithya. So there is no space, no body, nobody in front of you, no Zoom, no Vishishtadvaitha class, no Veeraraghava. One, whatever your name is, that is also not there. Whoever you are, your body is not there, your parents are not there, nothing is there. Only the Atma is there. And that Atma is only one in number, not many Atmas. You are one Atma, I am one Atma, not like that, just one Atma. That one Atma, attributeless, not feeling anything, no pleasure, no pain, seeing nothing, hearing nothing, feeling nothing, doing nothing, that is Paramartha, as declared by Advaita Vedanta. In Vishishta Advaita Vedanta, we do not accept such a state of existence. Dvaita also does not accept. Okay. But that state of existence is called Paramartha because it is the absolute reality. Whereas we are living in the realm of illusion, because of which we are experiencing all the differences. This is what Advaita says. So the realm of illusion is called Vyavaharika Satya, Vyavaharika Dasha, and things like that. Dasha means state. Satya means truth as per Vyavahara. Vyavaharika Satya means truth as per Vyavahara. Whereas Paramarthika Satya means that truth which is the absolute reality. Clear? I'm talking about
Yes,
Shankaradvaita, obviously. Now there might be
yes, yes.
some other Advaita schools that do not conform to Shankara Bhagavad Pada. As a simple example, Swami Vivekananda also believed in Advaita, but he did not accept Adi Shankaracharya completely. That is also an Advaita school. But when we talk about Advaita, we always refer to Shankaradvaita, because when we talk about Vishishta Advaita, we refer to Bhagavad Ramanuja.
Yes. I understand.
Okay. Any other question?
So, Ami, how do we understand Shesha Sheshi Bhava between Shiva and Vishnu?
That is a topic for another class. You can see, even with your Sharira Shariri Bhava, Vishnu is Sarva Shariri. That makes him the Shariri of Shiva also. When Vishnu showed his Vishwarupa, there was Shiva also there. Uh, you see that Avam Tavanga Sambhutau Tasmat Keshava Namavan, that statement of uh, Lord Shiva, that also shows, right, that Bhagavan, Sri Hari Vishnu, is the Shariri. So with Sharira Shariri Bhava, you can very easily finish it. The word Shiva means auspicious. It also means one who grants auspiciousness. Abhishta Pradaha, something like that they call Lord Shiva. The word Shiva itself means one who is auspicious and also one who grants auspiciousness. So, as Vishnu is also the grantor of auspiciousness, Mangalanam cha Mangalam, says Bhishmacharya, right? So, he is also called as Shiva. This is the Vyakhyana of Parashara Bhatta, Bhagavad Guna Darpanam. If you open it and see the meaning for Shiva as a name of Vishnu in Vishnu Sahasranama, this is what you will find.
Shiva is part of Bhagavan Sharira. So, in that context, the Abheda is seen.
What
Not like
do you even
yeah,
understand by Abheda? Abheda means non-difference. When you say part of Sharira, people will naturally understand it as like a hand, eye, nose, face, like that. That is not what we are. When we use the word Sharira itself, we don't refer to the physical body in this context. If whenever we use the word Sharira, the physical body is one example of Sharira. That is how we should understand it. You should always remember the definition of Sharira as per Vishishtadvaitha to understand how the Sharira Shariri Bhava works. The Shariri is there. The Sharira is also there. The Shariri is inside of the Sharira. But the Sharira is inside of the Shariri only wherever the Sharira is inside. That is the difference. Vibhutva of Lord Shiva is not accepted by Shri Vaishnavas. But that does not pertain to Vishishtadvaita per se. People might argue, no, there is Vishishtadvaita in Shaivism also. Later on, there were Shaivas who developed Vishishtadvaita as well. They say, no, Lord Shiva is Vibhu. He is everywhere. We do not accept. We are Sri Vaishnavas. We do not accept that. There is a difference, therefore. We say Lord Shiva has reach everywhere. He has reach everywhere. Like his abilities are pervasive everywhere, that way. But that does not mean he is everywhere. But for Vishnu, we say he is everywhere. Ansarva. Get it?
yes, Swami.
Swami, this Sarira Sarira Bhava, we can understand like in Ramayana also, like in Aranakandam. I remember there was a statement where Rama himself says that, oh, due to my past karmas, there are some consequences are happening. In Aranakanda, he says. So, although he doesn't have any previous karma, he is a karma and all because of the devas have done like giving boon to those asuras as he is himself Sarira
No,
Bhagavan.
that is no, that Sharira Shariri Bhava will not work there. Sharira
Okay.
Shariri Bhava is not the reason for his statement there. If you remember this question in the next class, please ask. In fact, you can feel free to ask at the beginning of the class itself. Okay, because this question needs to be answered, but its answer is not Sharira Shariri Bhava. Its answer is something else. And it is very important to understand because that is part of Vishishtadvaitha. How he does not get it. See, Bhagavan is my Shariri also. I also do infinite sins. If I do infinite sins, then Bhagavan should keep on suffering. Let us say you do infinite good things. I do infinite bad things. Our karmas will cancel each other. But you see the world, it is Kali Yuga. Evil is more. Adharma is much more. So if you pick me as a random person in the crowd, I would be an evil guy. Now, as a person who is not so good, I will do bad karma and then Bhagavan will suffer for it. No, no. If you say that way, then it means you are actually believing in Abheda. We are not Abhedavadis. We believe in Bheda. Darshanam Bheda evacha. This is the statement of Bhagavan. Ahameva param tattvam. Darshanam Bheda evacha. Upayeshu prapatti syat. Antima smriti varjanam. Have you heard of this? Ah.
I will ask in next class. Sorry.
So we accept Bheda Darshana. Okay. Our name is Vishishtadvaitha, but we are actually closer to Dvaita.
Yeah, I mean, Madhwas also says the same. Like, Vishishtadvaitha is quite similar to Madhwa's philosophy. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for attending. श्रीवत्सोदिकोत्तमस्य शिवासराधो गुरोस्तमेन तथा शब्द्या वाप्यबुधोत्तमतां दधानं पूर्वेशदाहृदि गुरुं करुणाकराख्यं कवितार्किकसिंहाय कल्याणगुणशालिने श्रीमते वेङ्कटेशाय वेदान्तगुरवे नमः।